Hi, you're watching Show Me the Smart Money. I'm David Grossman, and I'm delighted to have Jerry Hogenhout with me today in the studio. Jerry, welcome. Glad to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, David.
Okay, appreciate it. So let me first tell you a little bit about Jerry. He has quite a few professional designations. He's a professional accountant, a certified financial planner, a mortgage professional, and also he's a licensed dealing representative specializing in private equity. So lot of designations. You've obviously worked hard. You've spent time in school and always upgrading. Jerry, why is this education and these
Yeah,
certifications important?
well, they're important, but they've also, it reflects on the journey I've taken. So I've taken different journeys. I started, my financial career started as an accountant. Worked with Deloitte Touche in their tax department. I ran their small business department for about 10 years. So my foundation is tax. My interest went to financial services. So an accounting designation you know, is not going to get you too far in that industry. You need the other qualifications. So I went into the financial services business, took the appropriate courses, and received the designations. And along that journey, it took me many different places. I was a mutual fund rep. I was a stockbroker, a mortgage broker. We got licensed as mortgage brokers. So lots of different areas of the financial services. So I was a lot of it was just my own interest, wanting to really understand the different parts of the financial services industry and putting it all together into what I do today. So.
Okay, so that's a great segue into what you do today. So let me just preface the question by saying that your expertise, as I mentioned earlier, is as a dealing representative in the private markets.
Right.
I would like to ask you, the private markets are different from the public markets. I don't know if people even know, your average person knows what the private market is, but
Yeah, the private market is certainly relatively new to a lot of people. It's been around, it just hasn't been utilized or properly explored by many people. So it is new to a lot of people. I ended up in that market. I'd spent a lot of time in the public market, stocks and mutual funds, and to make a really long story short, I was really, I guess, lost a bit of faith in that type of investing. It was really reliant on the public stock market. A lot of it's just really dependent on how well the company's last quarter did. If it did well, your money goes up. If it didn't do well, it didn't go up. And I just perceived there to be more risk than people realize in the public stock market. So along my journey, I just kept trying to find the products that would accommodate what I was trying to accomplish for people, and that was really getting them their 6 to 15% returns in that bracket without their money going up and down. So that landed me in the private equity markets, and having explored that, I found that was the area where I could really accomplish what I was trying to do for my clients.
okay, so private equity is the area, obviously where there's increased return, there is increased reward, but the private markets, there are endowment companies and pension funds and
Yeah.
a lot of, like people don't even know that that's an option for them, that they might put their money
Yeah.
with a bank and mutual funds, but there are companies that don't even, like large companies that don't even want to go public. So just because you're a large, healthy company doesn't mean you're public.
That's exactly correct. So there's a lot of companies who choose not to go public. So the private equity market has been strong in what we call institutional investing. So a lot of the big pension companies, people don't realize, but a lot of these large pension companies, Canada Pension, OMERS, they've got half their money invested in private equity, and they always have. So they've seen lots of opportunities there. So the key was to be able to access that marketplace for the average investor. That's been a struggle. Certainly in Ontario, we are regulated by province in Canada, so there's different rules for different provinces. We saw a lot of success in British Columbia and Alberta, and we in Ontario were hoping for the same playing field. And those doors opened up a bit in the last year, so the Ontario Securities Commissions did massage the rules a bit to allow just your average investor to access these type of private equity opportunities. So we we work in that environment today, so those opportunities have opened up for these people, and there's a lot of opportunity there.
Okay, so although the Ontario Securities Commission is very strict, there is an upside for the investor. You're a mortgage broker, I'm a mortgage agent, and I'm sure you know about syndicated mortgage deals that have been around for a number of years, which is governed under FSCO, rather than directly by the Ontario Securities Commission. So I've started to make do some research, and I'm currently trying to become a licensed dealing rep like you are, and I can see that the level of compliance under the Ontario Securities Commission is very high, and it does protect investors to a degree. I mean, can you, for example, there's concentration rules and other things that dealing reps are supposed to do that mortgage agents, not necessarily the case, to find out how much money can people afford to be putting away for an extended period of time into an illiquid investment. I mean, people need to know what they're getting into.
Yeah, you've hit on a very good point. Certainly the Ontario Securities Commissions creates much stricter guidelines and rules. In fact, so much so that they're trying to get the mortgage lending industry under the Ontario Securities umbrella, away from FSCO. But rules and regulations are good. It protects the investor. I don't have any problem with the rules and regulations in the private equity business that are established by the Ontario Securities Commissions. I think it's very important that there's disclosure to the investor. There's rules that we comply with. As you say, there's concentration levels. There's many things, but those rules are necessary, and it still allows the investor many opportunities to pursue those type of investments. Yeah.
Okay, so now because you were an accountant for many years, you have a niche market going, and you have a website that targets accountants if they want to expose their clients to this, because, as I said earlier, people don't know it exists.
Yeah, so I've created a company, Accountants Capital Corp. It's called, and I provide investment services for the clientele of accountants in public practice. So that's been very well received for those accountants in public practice that do want to expand their services that they provide their clientele. I'm the company that they use for those services. And again, it's just an added value for the accountant to provide that service to their clientele, and also just making their clients aware that again, this private equity is relatively new. So it's important that to a lot of these accountants that their clients are aware of this avenue of investing. So,
Jerry, talk to us about the tax situation, the tax benefits of some of these investments. I know, if somebody invests in a mortgage, for example, it's straight interest, which is taxed at the highest rate.
Yeah, there's basically, anytime you invest money, there's basically three ways you're getting a return: interest, capital gains, or dividends. Interest is basically 100% taxed, capital gains is 1/2 taxed, and dividends, to keep it simple, let's say, is in the middle. So there are different ways that we get returns on our money. Sure, in a perfect world, capital gains, half of it is taxed. It's certainly the most tax-favored way of receiving money. But there's investments that only return interest. That's fine. I mean, I try not really to put the tax component into the return. You make money, you have to pay tax. If it's better to earn the money as interest and you're paying a higher tax, I don't think that's the end of the world, as opposed to changing your investment strategy just simply to get capital gains. But the private equity field there's lots of opportunity to have a mishmash of those returns. So when I look at different investment opportunities or companies or products, we look at it, I try to simplify it. We look at it from growth, and we look at it from cash flow. What creates the cash flow? What creates the growth? I like real estate. I've always liked real estate. I will continuously say that real estate probably is the best type of investment that you can make, whether you own it directly, whether you finance it through mortgages, syndicated mortgages, private mortgages, whether you buy them as real estate income trust. But what's protecting your money is real estate, not just pieces of paper saying you own a share of a company.
Right,
It's
and
protected
most
by real
people,
estate.
most people are comfortable with that because they know and understand real
understand it,
estate.
yeah.
You have, I don't know if this was your invention, but I saw a video where you were talking about the children's home ownership
Yeah,
plan.
child home ownership
So,
program.
which seemed very creative. Is that
Yeah,
your?
it is my creation, and it goes back to having disciplines in many different fields in the investment world. You need to be an accountant to really understand it. You need to be a financial planner to implement it. You need to be a mortgage broker to realize how the mortgage financing. So I did create it. I'm very proud of it. It's worked fantastic, and without giving a long version of it, it's basically using people's RSP money or locked-in retirement money, holding mortgages inside of that plan, and using that money to buy a rental property, which eventually can be sold to your child. So it's really all about helping people, parents or grandparents, helping their children or grandchildren accomplish home ownership. And the best time to start that type of program is when the child is born. Use the money in the RSP, buy a rental property, mortgage gets paid off in 20, 25 years, your newborn child is 20 or 25 years old, there's a house for them. It's hard, in this day and age, I have a real soft spot for kids, young adults trying to buy a house.
Well,
It's
good luck.
extremely hard.
Good
So-
luck, and this, especially in the city of Toronto. It's not an easy thing to do.
at
So
all.
you've come up with a way that families can very creatively use the money that use RSPs
Yeah.
that they have to help buy investments properties, which could be later sold or somehow turned over to their kids.
Yeah,
That's the
it's-
basic idea, which is I mean, as a mortgage agent over the years, people have asked me from time to time about holding your own mortgage in your RSP, and it's not something that's done very often.
No.
But so I'm very glad that we met. We'll have to talk more about
Yes,
that
yeah.
because I think that's an opportunity for people. But in the meantime, I know that the exempt market dealer that you are licensed with, one of the biggest and the best, frequently hold information sessions so that if people wanted to come out to learn more, or if they just wanted to call you, they could give you a call and
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The dealer that I affiliate with, the companies that we raise capital for, part of the process is asking those companies to come out and give a small presentation about what they're all about, what they're proposing, you know, what type of returns might be expected in their projects. So it gives not only us, but the potential investor a good opportunity to see what is available. It's very well received, and so yeah, people are welcome to come to those. There's no cost to attend. There's no commitment. We're not. It's not a sales night. It's just an information
Education,
night. It's an
information.
education night. So yeah, if people are interested in that type of thing, I'm glad to accommodate them.
Okay, good. So your phone number's on the screen, your contact information, so people can contact you about that. Jerry, thanks very much for joining us in the studio today. I'm David Grossman. You just watched Show Me the Smart Money. Until next time, thanks for watching.